back to our Fashion Basics series. In this session we're going to look at concave and convex seams. So we'll be using two pieces of fabric like this for our concave seam and two pieces of fabric like this for our convex seam. We're going to make sure that the edges of the fabric are together, and we're going to pin with a 1 centimetre seam allowance. One more pin. We're going to now stitch our seams for our concave and our convex seam. And once again we're going to secure our seam by going forward a couple of stitches, pressing on the bar to go back. This is known as a back tack, taking the pins out as we go. We do need to just make sure that we move our fabric so that it's coping with the curve that we're wishing to stitch. And again, we're having to cope with the curve by moving the fabric to create the right sort of seam that we need here. So take the pins out and make sure they go into your box or into a pin cushion, and back tack. Pulley up and move the work away from the machine and snip the threads. If I just show you with the convex seam, if we turn it through, you'll notice that the seam will ripple inside, and so therefore we need to take out some little notches of fabric. Okay, so I'm going to now cut towards the line of stitching but not through, and I'm going to cut these little notches of fabric out. Okay, and I need to do that every couple of centimetres. Now it depends on how curved your seam is as to how many of these notches and how close together they need to be. So we're now ready to turn that through, and when we turn it through and we press it, it'll sit nice and flat, and just as we want that to appear. It's a nice gently curved seam. So for the concave seam, we will now need to do something very similar, and this is called clipping. And instead of taking a whole notch of fabric out like we did before, we're just going to clip towards but not through the stitches every centimetre or so. Again, it depends on how curved your seam is, but on a gentle curve like this, every couple of centimetres should be sufficient. So now we're going to turn this through, and as we do so, we can just run our fingers along the seam, and then we can press that to make it nice and flat. And remember always to use the steam iron safely. We're going to blast the steam out of the iron and then apply heat and pressure. Adding a little bit of steam will help as well. So those are the concave and convex seams. Thank you for watching, and in the next session I'm going to show you how to sew a curved seam.